Hey everyone, welcome back to the latest episode. So coming up today, SES sales, lambing, or not lambing, scanning I should say. So just starting off, I don't know whether people find it the way I do find it, but I just find this year has gone so fast. Like, it just seems like every week is a whirlwind of a week and you just have no time to bless yourself, get it done. It just seems to be boom, gone. I know I worked in a job for 6 years, and I know probably coming out of it you were depressed, but I just think in the last 3 4 year life has just gone so fast that I don't know where it's gone. So doing these podcasts has even sped it up even faster because you're going, what's going on here, what's going on there, and you want to get things organized. So it's been time's just flying. So we scanned our Dorset Joes, and what's the best way to describe it? And we didn't have a big crop at the Swins on, we only had 11. But we had more yos in lamb and less empties than ever before. There probably are lambing mid-December up into January, but they're lambing, like, look, they're in lamb. Would have liked them a little bit earlier, but there's a few a little bit earlier, but not many. But I suppose, look, they were on the mountain. They were tipped on the mountain. We're having our best scanning ever. I'll take the positive. I suppose the really positive B is when we start lambing and we get them to lambs a foot and get the lambs sold. So what we will do is we will definitely be finishing the lambs. I can't see myself selling them in stores. I'd imagine we run them on a field or bits in the shed till they're a certain age with the owls. We put them out then, and then once we get them to a certain age, we will wean them off the owls and put them into the shed and finish the lambs. And I suppose we used to sell the lambs at home years ago, but once spring lamb prices went up, people are like, oh, it's too dear, it's too dear. Well, like, you're just charging spring lamb prices, so we might as well go to the factory with them as not, like. So that's the plan for the Dorsets anyway, and we're thrilled with the scanning. And so I probably this year will put them into the shed and land them in the shed, but we might wait and see what the plan is nearer the time. So the main bulk of this podcast is going to be about the SES sale in Monaghan. Now, what's the best way to describe it? We headed down to Leitrim, and we didn't know really what to expect because this year we bought ram lambs, and I was kind of nervous going down because, like, I was kind of stressed because the ram has to pass the inspection. You have to make sure the tags is right, everyone's right. So I found it quite stressful, but it's more on me not being used to the paperwork end of it and all that. Then actually there was no problems at all, and the lads are really nice, and you couldn't say a word more about them. Like, so that was grand. We got them in, and the job was like so. Came to the selling, trade was good with the Cheviots, and we were very happy. Swales, not so much. Let's just say we sold 3 out of 4, but look, there was no great demand for them. We got a few bob back, but it wouldn't be encouraging. But I suppose a little breakdown to say, like, for anyone who doesn't know what SAS is, it's rams, hill rams. That are genotypes, that they are pedigree rams. So you had Lanarks, Swales, Perth type, and Mayo horn sheep in it, and then you had North Country Cheviots and the Wicklow Cheviot. Now, the Lanark trade wasn't as good as last year. The Swale trade, whilst we sold the lambs, you wouldn't be overly happy, so it wasn't a great trade. The Perth type, I didn't see them, so I can't say. The Mayo seemed to be a good strong trade. Look, some people will want more than what they got, which is the natural run of things, but I thought the trade was good. The North Country what I seen in our country looked to be good. I can't say now that it was brilliant, but I just thought it was good. The Wicklow Cheviot, I thought the trade was solid. I thought it was good. Like, as I say, we had ram lambs in it. We didn't bring any home. We were happy how we got on, and we found it very productive. Something that definitely we would look to do next year. And like, we were talking to a few people at the time, and I have to say there was a good buzz around the sale. It was a good place to be. But I suppose in the sale itself, it has one restriction that you're only allowed to bring 4 per breeder. And whilst I would say that is a good thing, it's kind of not great either, because if you're traveling a long distance, 4 sheep is it's only 4 sheep, like it's not 14 sheep. And that's kind of the way I would look at it, is that it is kind of restrictive. Also, you sell 2 and then you sell 2 later on if you have 4 in it. So you're broken up throughout the sale. So you've sold 2, you're back out, get the other 2 in, you're back out. Now, in fairness, what they said was that the lads, it's up to the owners to get the sheep to the ring. In fairness to the lads in the yard, they all helped and gave you a hand, so that we were selling it to your next 2 could be coming through, and they'd help you with them. And in fairness, some of them were very good that way and very accommodating. And I have to say, we've been in the sale 3 times now in basically the last 12 months, and I think it's definitely a productive sale, and 2 young auctioneers, 2 good chaps doing their best for you, and it's great to see. Like, would you say there's drawbacks? Of course there is, but if there's no market, like as I say, for the swells and larks, there was no market there for them. Would you blame sheep herding for that? No. I would put that back onto the onus of the breeders themselves that was going, the quality of the sheep that was in it, and on the breeding societies, because if they're not promoting their sheep in that sale or going to it and putting up on Facebook and all that, well then you can't blame Sheep Ireland. Suppose taking a step back from the sale and looking at it and saying to yourself, well, what could be improved or what could be different? Well, one thing on the sale that was there that night was in Donegal, in Brocka, they were having a big ram sale. So that meant then you had a certain crowd of people that maybe might have went to it, but they weren't going because on the same night. And I looked to see on Facebook, and they had a lot of rams in it. So if you were up there, you weren't going to travel to Hamilton when you had a sale beside you. So that probably took a region of that out of it. So it probably could have took a few bidders out of it, and everyone knows 4 or 5 bidders could make a big difference in the sale. Second thing was in Blessingtown, Sean sale the next day, you had a lot of Cheviot rams being sold and a monster ram selling. So again, that was another big sale. And I suppose when they're squeezing that sale in up in that part of the country between big sales like that, it's a competition. It's hard. So I suppose when I was talking to one or two up there, and I was talking to one or two afterwards, and something that was said to me which I thought was quite interesting, and something that I thought would be a good idea, is that why the Sheep Ireland don't have a second sale in Munster. Second sale in Munster. Because you have a lot of Kerry men, Waterford men, Cork, all that area, Tipperary, that mightn't want to travel to North Leitrim to a sale, but they would travel to their own sale down there and make numbers. And possibly they wouldn't have to have big numbers in it to make it a success. But cause like the sale in what happened to me is a success. It's there 2 years now, and our lambs at the end of the sale were the and our lambs in the middle of the sale. So when I looked up in the ring and I seen these sheep lads looking down, and said, where's all the people gone? But trade didn't drop, trade was up. So you have to say to yourself, well, that's a bonus, that's a good thing. like I liked the sale, and I went back down on Thursday afterwards to the sale, and lads, it was a long drive down and in and get sold, but we were selling ram lambs and hoggets in Hamilton, and I have to say, trade was good. We got the value of the sheep. One or two we might got a little bit more value than what I had expected, but we didn't sell anything on their value, you know. And I was quite happy coming home, and it was nice to step out of the sale and pep in your step, going home happy. Myself, after the SES sale in Manhattan, the next day, myself and Yvain headed to the Blessingtown show and sale, and we'd no sheep in it. We weren't buying in it. I was keeping an eye out for an SES ram for my father because he needed one for the scheme. So we were up there, and I picked out a couple of Cheviots, and I said if I got them, I got them. And if I didn't, so I ran a couple of Cheviot hoggets to a certain price, and gone, I didn't get them. So I kind of said, we won't worry about it too much. Then Yvain, she had been down in the Suffolks and Texas and Hampshire down rings, pens, and looking at sheep, and she had a list of sheep picked out. So we were sat down and we went through them, and we were waiting to come into the ring, and the rest I yes, and a couple of lambs came up, and she said, Daddy, just no, we want they're too dear. Like, they were good lambs, they were Texas lambs, but they were too expensive. And just happened to be talking to a chap afterwards when they had gone through, and he was like, oh, trade's good. I said, yes, some of the sheep are expensive. I said, explain to him about the Texas lambs, and he says, oh, you want them for nothing, really, kind of aggressive. And I said, no, I just wasn't prepared to pay more than what they were worth. And I was, because we were the underbidder on them, like, so I wasn't like wanting them for nothing. But it was just, well, how would you describe it? It was just his view, and I suppose he was the one person, and he kind of said it to us in the sale, and all the people we met in the sale, between all the sales we've been in, he was the one negative person towards YouTube and the podcast. So I kind of thought it was funny that no matter what I said, that I was going to be wrong anyway. Like, so I suppose by doing this, then you are putting yourself out to be not too, like, but it just it was no harm for me to hear it either, because it's sometimes it's good to hear these things. But we were getting ready to go home, and we were walking down, and there was a Belclare ram went into the ring. And yes, and he was there 150, 160, 170, big lump for him. So we got him for €200. So how would you describe it? We got him for €200. Now, he'll never tip a yo for us. He has stars, he has everything you want. Never bother with him. But we will bring him back to Blessingtown in a couple of weeks' time and just run through his cast ring, or let's bring the car new, whichever. Just run through his cast ram. Won't say anything about stars or anything like that, for the simple reason he'll have done the job. He's done the paperwork for us. Like, we have loads of rams. And I suppose that is the downside of the SIS, that you will have sheep who have stars and that, but if there's no demand for the particular breed and people don't want them, and then you're going to get people get cheap rams for the SES. So that is, to me, that's the only downside of the SES, is that if the sheep aren't wanted, you're getting cheap SES sheep. It's like Aeroswale, it's the same. They weren't wanted, so whoever bought them the 2 days in Manhattan would have got cheap SAS ram lambs. Like, now we brought some Cheviot ram lambs to Blessingtown on the Tuesday before the second day we went to Manhattan, and they were SIS, but I cut out the SIS tag and sold them as fats for a simple reason. I didn't want, they weren't good enough to be sold as breeding ram lambs. So I didn't want them going to somebody for the sake of it. I said no. I said, like, their heads were okay. One had a lovely head, but it just so much scour on his backside that it just didn't sit well with me. So I said, no, I just cut them out and we sold them. So kind of what I done was I had three of them. One wasn't SES and then the other two were. And I kind of wanted to give myself a balance to see what the SES lamb was worth and what the non-SES lamb was worth. So that's the Cheviot. So it gave me at least I knew then the second day going to Manningham, well, I have to get X for the lambs. And I had to go down and go, okay, but when you're selling the SES, what's the minimum price you need? And taking all the costs into it if it's worth it. So I would say to anyone, I said, look, getting into doing a load of SAS rams, is it worth it? It depends on your own situation. For us, it's not worth doing the hoggets because we can't run them over the winter. We don't have the ground. Ram lambs, yes, whilst there's a demand for ram lambs, it would be feasible for us to do it. Is the SCS a good scheme? I think it is. I think if you're getting genotyped and you're keeping the scrapie down in flocks and all the positives coming out of it is outweighing any negatives, I think it is a good scheme. But I think it's up to the kind of the farmers to push it ahead. But it's also up to the farm groups, to farming organisations of each breed, to push it ahead in the breeds and to push the sales ahead and kind of think outside the box and say, well, we need to promote our breed and we need to do this, this and this. Because at the end of the day, from what I can see, sheep herding is here to stay. So you kind of either have to be in line with them or, no. And whilst there is a place for a non-SES ram, I think by not being SES, you are losing a few bob. But look, it's horses for courses. You have to make the best of these situations and, just get on with it, really. So that's really what I was here today to talk about, was just give a little bit of my opinion on the SAS. As I say, it's not a case that I know anything better than anyone else, but it's just to get out there of the few bits and pieces and to try and keep the conversation going. And hopefully that next year when we go from Monaghan again, that sheep herding will be there with more people to buy the rams, and anyone who listens to this and has joined us on our YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all the places, that they can say, well, listen, it's the way forward. Hopefully we'll see what happens. So listen, thank you all very much. Thank you very much for joining me today, and chat to you all very soon.